Okay. Hello everyone. Welcome to Outlier, Pendulum Void, Ridden and Reviewed. What we have here is the latest issue from Outlier mountain bike products out of Canada. Our neighbors to the north. Now these are some really amazing little bits of engineering. They make a regular void. Void is the void in the middle. Pendulum is the footbed is below the center of the pedal, and they are self-riding. Fingers out like that. You're like this. This thing just falls. Look at that bearing. These are probably some of the best bearings I think I've ever seen. So the void being the hole in the middle, and pendulum being the fact that the pedal is one-sided and self-riding. You only have pins sticking up on this pedal. I've taken the pins out because I've been sanding them to shorten them, but as you can see on this pedal right here, there's nothing sticking down. So if you look at this, your footbed on this, which is not the pins, it's the top of the pedal and the top of the pedal here. The difference in those two is about 5/8 of an inch, a little over 5/8 of an inch. However, on the bottom, these pins right here on the outside, they're the same as right here. This point right here, the lowest point right here, it's about 1/4 of an inch lower. What I've done here is I've gone ahead and placed a 1/4 inch thick magazine on the table here, and these are about as even as I can get them. I've just put these on an old set of cranks. Those things are dead plumb. So right now the bottom of this pedal is 1/4 of an inch lower than the center point, the closest area to the crank on this pedal. And that would be the pins on this pedal, because it's not the footbed, it's the pins that are going to strike rocks and things like that. You have no pins on this one, which is pretty damn cool. So your foot, 5/8 of an inch lower on this pedal versus this pedal. Your clearance is 1/4 of an inch right here. Your clearance is 0 difference on the outside. So that's pretty significant. The other thing about this type of pedal is the way in which your foot interacts with the pedal. So normally when you get on the bike and you start pedaling, you're going to get on this pedal right here. If you look at this, you can see this pin and this pin, they are ahead of the center point on the pedal. So when you get on this, if your foot is farther forward or something, has a real want to roll. And I'm sure you've all had this happen before. You're like getting on a difficult location, you put your foot on, you're in the wrong place, boom, darn thing, your foot just wants to roll right off. With this pedal, that's like gone. Your foot is here, it's not rolling anywhere. It's again, it's centered back to forward. Well, you know what? I take that back. It's a little farther forward right here, but you just can't. I mean, the way that you're below the center of the pedal, you don't want to roll off it. The other thing that's amazing about these is without the center axle in these, that allows your foot to just sink onto these pins. You are not moving. Once your foot is on these, it doesn't move. If you want to wiggle your foot around, it's not quite the right spot. You literally have to lift your foot, or at least completely unweight it. On a pedal like this, you can just take a little pressure off and move your foot around and you're fine. You'll know exactly where you are. Not with these. You are hard on that pedal. One drawback with these is you need to have, I think, at least a size 8 shoe. That is because the void in here is big enough that your shoe could conceivably go through it if you're if you're a 5 or something like that. So that is one thing that you do have to take into account, but I don't think it's going to be a problem for most full-grown adults anyway. The pedals are just amazingly sticky. The next thing I want to talk about is right here. You can't get your foot all the way against the center. The distance between crank and crank on a mountain bike is called the Q factor. This adds about 3/4 of an inch to the Q factor. On this pedal here, you can get your foot all the way against the pedal. On here, not so much. you're out at least 1/4 of an inch. So that will have some effect. People that do want a narrower Q factor, they really appreciate that. That is something that you'll want to take into account. The one thing, comparing to other pedals, this style pedal right here, this is not the narrowest pedal. The pedal itself is about 5/8 of an inch thick this way. With the pegs on it, it's a little over an inch. This pedal here is, well, it's kind of it's a different measurement because you don't have any pegs sticking out the bottom. The pedals like 1-ups, you're still gonna have an axle sticking out somewhere nice and beefy to hold the bearing. It's a little bit smaller. I think the 1-ups are probably only a single bearing. They can do that because they have the axle. These are a double bearing. Something like the 5 Dev pedals, they are thinner, but even they have a little bump right here that's generally as high as the pegs. So it's still there. These, they're just amazing. They've got double very high quality bearings in there. The grip is amazing. I've ridden these, I don't know, 3 weeks probably, and they are amazing. You do lose some ground clearance. There is, you can't really get around that. It depends on your bottom bracket height. We are Santa Barbara area, and we are, especially in the Cold Spring area where I like to ride, we've got a lot of rocks. So you are going to have to do that little toggle pedal and stuff like that to really get better at that. But just the actual way in which you're stuck on these pedals, I would almost compare it to a mag pedal or something. Your foot's not going to move. It's really crazy. I am going to be sanding these down even a little bit further, just because they do stick up and they are kind of sharp. I think that's about what I can tell you about these things. Should you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I'm really taken with these. This is an amazing pedal, and I mean the bearings, the craftsmanship, the way it is sculpted, the way it's thicker in the center and tapers up. So the farther out area, having that cut up, so it's really no difference in height than this pedal here, which I would kind of call a standard pedal. It's not the thinnest, but it's not the thickest. Any questions, please leave them in the comments, and thank you very much.